This is Kenny, a tiger the internet once mocked for looking different. Memes were made, people laughed. But Kenny's story is far more disturbing than a meme. So, what really happened to him? And why does he look like this? This wasn't fate, it was engineered. Generations of inbreeding. Because white tigers don't exist in the wild. Every single one you've ever seen was created, bred for profit, no matter the cost. For every flawless white tiger on display, countless others weren't as lucky as Kenny. Never seen, never saved, born broken, discarded, forgotten. Kenny's story isn't just a tragedy, it's a warning, a reminder of how easy it is to do the wrong thing, even while believing it's right.
When I first saw Kenny, he was a forlorn bundle of dirty white and brown fur, with pale blue eyes set in a Halloween mask face. As repelled as I was by his appearance, I could not help but be touched by his plight. I overheard one visitor uncharitably refer to him as a deformed bull.
Kenny, also known as Kenny Rogers, was born on February 3rd, 1999. His life began as a product of a breeder's grade, and with the way he looked, his future didn't seem like much. But thankfully, that's not where his story ended. When he wasn't pretty enough to sell, the breeder tried to dump him and his cage mate at Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge for $7,800. He claimed Kenny constantly ran his face into the wall, as if that explained everything. But that was just an excuse. Kenny's deformities weren't self-inflicted, and they weren't caused by Down syndrome, as many internet users believed. See, Down syndrome happens when there's an extra copy of chromosome 21. But tigers only have 16 pairs of chromosomes. The genetic difference is simply too great. Though, that doesn't mean animals can't have disorders that look similar. But Kenny didn't show signs of any non-animal syndromes. And despite how he looked, he was highly socialized, friendly with humans, not something you'd associate with the syndrome. So, if Kenny didn't have Down syndrome, what caused his deformities? To answer that, we have to look beyond Kenny. to something even more unsettling. Because white tigers, they were never meant to exist. At least, not like this. They are not separate species, not a rare subspecies. They're just Bengal tigers, carrying a recessive mutation. A mutation that comes at a cost. In the 1970s, geneticist Roy Robinson thought he had solved the mystery of white tigers. He believed their pale fur came from a quirk in the gene called chinchilla, one that strips away yellow and red pigments, leaving only black stripes on a white coat. But it didn't explain the health issues white tigers kept showing, which meant it was safe to breed them. And for decades, that theory stuck. Until researchers in China took a closer look. They discovered a different gene was responsible, one linked to pale coloring and other animals too. And unlike Robinson's theory, this gene didn't just control fur color, it carried a price. Robinson's theory was elegant, but wrong. Many white tigers suffer from club feet, cleft palates, spinal deformities, and strabismus, a condition where the brain struggles to align both eyes, leaving them permanently crossed. Even those who appear normal often carry hidden neurological issues. This mutation naturally occurs in just 1 in 10,000 births. Yet breeders have produced hundreds. To keep producing white tigers, they exploited this rare mutation at a steep cost. And while white tigers are majestic, many of them, like Kenny, had to pay the full price. His face is the outcome. But how did it happen? And why did we let it go so far? Money? Sure. But sometimes the most dangerous kind of person is convinced they're doing good. To understand where it all started, we have to go back to where the white tiger obsession began. June 1951, India. Back then, tigers weren't endangered. They were trophies. Maharajas hunted them for status, not survival. One of them was Maharaja Martan Singh of Rewa. On one of his regular hunts, he found something too rare to kill, a white tiger cub. After a 2-day pursuit, the hunters cornered the cub in a cave, blocked the entrance with rocks, and eventually trapped it in a wooden cage. They named him Mohan and brought him to Govindgarh fort. Singh didn't just see him as a rare prize. He believed Mohan was the last hope for white tigers, something sacred that needed saving. After all, what if Mohan was the last of his kind? If Singh didn't act, who would? But nature had its own rules. The trait that made the tiger white was a rare genetic mutation hidden in only a few Bengal tigers. So when Mohan first mated with the normal colored tigers, all 4 cubs were born with standard orange coats. But Singh was determined. If nature wouldn't produce another white tiger, he would force it to. So he made a controversial decision. Bred Mohan with one of his own daughters, Radha. The result? 4 white cubs. It was a success, a white tiger miracle, and the breeding game was set in motion. White tigers were rare, and people believed they were preserving something special. But not just that. White tigers became a spectacle, circuses, exotic pet collections, even mascots. To meet the man, breeders kept going back to the same genetic pool, again and again. And that led to consequences: stillbirth, deformities, neurological damage. And that's how we got Kenny. Not as a life saved, but a life broken.
It's not the role of a zoo to show two-headed calves and white tigers. White tigers are freaks.
Harsh. Maybe. Especially when the only white tiger most people have seen is the star of a flashy promo, plastered on billboards, hyped up online. A perfect, majestic creature, front and center. But the price we pay to see that one perfect white tiger, it's not just the ticket. It's the suffering of 29 others. Born broken, discarded, forgotten. So maybe Conway sounded cruel, but he was right. White tigers were never meant to exist. But now that they do, saving them could be the right thing. But this story isn't just about right or wrong. It's about choices we make once we know the truth. Some sell tigers like Kenny for profit. Others, like Maharaj Martan Singh, truly believed they were doing something good. But they weren't. They just never stopped to ask why or who it was really for. And then there are people like those at Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge. When Kenny was sold to them, he was cared for. He was loved. He had many good days. And when the bad days came, people were there to help him, to comfort him, to make sure he wasn't alone. Kenny died in 2008. But the people who cared for him and everyone who stopped by to support did it the right way. They didn't save a symbol. They saved a life.
Today, Kenny and Willie will, for the very first time, get to run and play in the grass in a large natural habitat that is recently constructed just for them. There's over 300 people at Turpentine Creek on this wonderful day to watch Kenny and Willie take their steps in the grass for the first time.